And repeat this oath of office. I solemnly swear to live up to the provisions of the governing laws of the today's Federated Republican Women's Club, the Florida Federation of Republican Women, the National Federation of Republican Women, and the Republican Party of Florida, and to discharge all duties incumbent to my office to the best of my ability. All duties incumbent to my office. You're going to do your best. By the authority vested in me by the FFRW and the Republican Party of Florida, I declare you the installed officers of the today's Federated Republican Women's Club.
Good to go.
Hi, I'm Starla Brown. I'm the president of today's Federated Republican Women's Club. And we'd like to invite everybody out to come and join us. We want to get out a great message to you. We are women in Palm Beach County and men who are working toward a goal of making sure that conservative messages get out to all of the groups. And we invite you to join us. We meet the second Thursday of every month. You can check us out on a Facebook group, today's Federated Republican Women's Club.
And Starla, what are the priorities of the Women's Club?
Well, our priority is one, obviously to elect Republican candidates to office to support our party, but we also do service hours, and so we will be reaching out to the community. That's one of our priorities.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I'm working on what I want to do with that. I look great on big screen TV, I can tell you that. You know, the speech is entitled "Building a Permanent Republican Majority," and you'll hear in my speech, number one, how close we are and how simple it is, and then you'll scratch your head and say, "How come nobody else told me this?" So here it goes. This speech starts actually in around 1995, 1996, because that's when I got involved in the local party. And the chairman at the time was Tom Sliney, who many of you know because he's still active on the REC. He's a wonderful gentleman. And he came over to me way back then, in 1996, and he said, "Sid, there's a forum down in the South County homeowner group, and we'd like to know if you'd like to go represent us." And I'm like, "Hey, that sounds good," because I was new, so people talk in code, and I didn't quite understand the code. So I said, all right, but soon I figured out what the code was. What Tom was trying to say nicely was, there's a development in South County that is only populated by liberal Jews. And they're having a debate, and they already have the Jewish person from the Democratic side who they're going to cheer for every time they open their mouths. And by the way, just so you can appreciate this, in my life I've debated Lois one-on-one 4 or 5 times, okay? And they need a Republican so they can scream at you while you talk. And I said, I'm in. And I went. And I came back and Tom said to me, "Well, Sid, how did it go?" I said, "Tom, I have really good news." He said, "What's that?" I said, "There wasn't a single vote for me to lose." And then I went back. For 15 years, when Joyce Kaufman introduces me, this is what she tells people. He said the first time, Sid went all by himself, and then by the time we got to where we are today, he had an army. So we fast forward to 2012. And in 2012, we, the leadership of this county, figured out that Barack Obama was vulnerable in the Jewish community. Not because I'm Jewish, but because he is vulnerable in the Jewish community. And that if we actually did stuff, we could make a difference. So we decided to actually do stuff. And basically, we did 3 main things. The first, not in any particular order, but I like to start with my vice chair, our vice chair at the time, Margie Hellshine. Margie Hellshine lives in West Boca. West Boca is what we politely call the belly of the beast. It's 100% liberal Jewish. Or at least you think it's 100% liberal Jewish, because if you're not, if you're a Jewish Republican there, you're not allowed to talk. Okay.
That's true.
And Margie said, we're going to open an office in West Boca on Grades and 441. Because Obama is vulnerable, and we're going to go into his core voters, and we're going to take them. And Margie went to the leadership of the Romney campaign here in the state of Florida and said just what I said. This is what we're going to do. Give us a third victory office. And the leadership said, no. Just because. Because they understand votes, they understand budgets. And we already had 2 offices, so we don't have a budget for a third. But Margie was president of the Boca Raton Republican Club, and I was chairman of the Republican Party of Palm Beach County, and that meant both of us had a checkbook. So she took hers and I took mine, and we opened that office. We opened that office 1 hour after we opened the office on the east side, which Bonnie, there's Bonnie, the fabulous Bonnie, ran on the east side of Boca, which was a victory office, and she had Rudy Giuliani. And we said, we want Rudy to come over when he's done with Bonnie. We were all over there. And now help us open that office, which is not a victory office. And the Romney people said, no. So we went over to the west side, and the celebrities we had, I was the #1 celebrity, maybe #2, because the other one was Peter Feynman, who was also a celebrity. And the third was our treasurer, Iris Sabin. Celebrity. Okay. We were the celebrities, and you know what?
And Fran.
And Fran. I don't know if Fran spoke that day or not. I take it back. She did. Okay. My point is, 250 Jewish people showed up. Without Giuliani, without anybody other than us. 250 Jewish people showed up at that office that Saturday afternoon because they were on a desert island and we were bringing them water. In the most literal sense. And we knew we were on to something. And I went back to the Romney people and I said, let me tell you something. Your office is your rules. Our office, our rules. So we're not doing your bubbles, and we're not doing the stuff that you do, and I don't want your lists. And we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to get votes right out of that community, and we know how we're going to do it. And that's what Margie did. That was piece #1. Took 3 pieces. Piece #2 is Alan Bergstein. Alan Bergstein came to me a year or 2 ago. He said, Sid, I need a title. I said, okay, you're now the chairman of Jewish outreach for the Republican Party of Palm Beach County. He said, thank you, because he needed standing, because him and his friend Tom Trento went to all those homeowner groups, remember the homeowner groups, and went to all the synagogues, and they said, just like when we were kids in New York, we challenge. We want to do a debate on whether Barack Obama is good for the Jewish community and Israel. And these guys were doing debates every week. And they were doing it as stereotypical Jews. That means we were loud and noisy and insulting, and each side was blaming the others for 4,000 years of atrocities against the Jewish people. This is what we do when we're the only ones in the room. It was fabulous. For the first time, the Jewish community was not being told who to vote for. They were seeing 2 separate visions of the relationship of the Jewish community to the United States of America. And we knew we were onto something. And we knew we were going to have a very good cycle for Mitt Romney. The third piece was the RJC. The RJC, Republican Jewish Coalition. The RJC had $6.3 million. And they said, well, we're going to spend it in counties, in swing states that have significant Jewish populations. I raised my hand. I said, bring your money. So when you saw those billboards on the local highways that said, oy vey, Barack Obama, that was the RJC. Yeah, See that? Okay. That was the RJC. They brought in Rudy Giuliani, Norm Coleman, John Bolton. We would put, I spoke, Adam Hassel spoke, Ellen spoke. We put 700 Jewish people in a room. I remember when we had 7. We put 700. This thing had a life of its own all of a sudden. So we had these 3 elements. So it wasn't an accident. And then election day came. And on election day, we were the only large county that did not perform like a large county. The large counties in our state got killed. Every one of them not only got fewer votes than McCain, but by large amounts. We got 33,000 more votes for Romney than we got for McCain. 4 percentage points more. If the whole country had done that, we'd all been at the inaugural last week. All right? And I say to people, those 33,000 votes, by the way, they did that at the state committee. They put it up on the board. There wasn't another county even close to us. I said, those 33,000 people, I know where they live. To understand, it wasn't an accident. We targeted them, we went after them, and we got them. Why am I telling you all this? Because the Republican Party has a major failing. And the failing is we continue to compete for an increasing share of a decreasing market. That being white people. It is a major failing. Yeah, you can clap. Let me tell you how good this stuff is. So this is what I say in my speech here. I don't want another white vote. The day you say that, you will be liberated in a way that you can't even imagine. I don't want another white vote. Mitt Romney got a higher percentage of a white vote than Ronald Reagan. That's enough. I don't want another white vote. When some lady during the campaign who I know came over to me and started with liberal and started doing the Romney this and Obama that, I was sitting in a lounge at my club. I pointed to the door, just like that. She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Get out." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I paid my dues. I'm entitled to my privacy. Get out." And she left. I don't want another white vote. And the reason is, the cost is too high. And every one of you knows this from your friends who are Republicans. What's the cost of the next white vote? You have to give up fighting for babies. You have to give up protecting yourself. You have to give up sending kids who can't read to schools other than the ones with teachers' unions at the front of the classroom. You have to give up everything we believe in. Peggy Noonan wrote the article a couple weeks ago. I love Peggy Noonan. I'm like, how could she write this? It basically said we Republicans would really do better if we were Democrats, basically. That's what she wrote. I said, poor Peggy, all her friends are white. So that's what you get every day from your white friends. Well, if you guys didn't care about this issue, or if you guys didn't care about, if I didn't care about those issues, I'd be a Democrat. Right? Right. No more white votes. Who needs us more? The village of Palm Beach or the town of Riviera Beach? Riviera. That was simple, wasn't it? So how come Mitt Romney spent $1 billion in Palm Beach and zero in Riviera Beach? Am I right? Did he spend every cent of his $1 billion on the voters he already had? I think Rick Scott's the best governor in the country. He's got the numbers for proof. He's got the jobs. He's cut he actually paid down serious debt. I think he's the best governor in the country. I think he's going to lose. I watch what he's doing now, and I can tell you that every advisor he has is sitting there basically saying, "This is how we get more white votes." And he doesn't understand. He doesn't want or need more white votes. So he gives $1 billion to the education budget. How many votes does anybody think that got him? None. Exactly. Now, worse than that, he makes an announcement the other day, $2,500 raise for every teacher. My state senator, Joe Abruzzo, the next day puts in a bill, Democrat, puts in a bill, $10,000 raise for every teacher. You think we can